Well, it seems 2023 is going to have another great game release. And of course, what is the game I'm speaking about? Atomic Hearts. But of course, before we jump into the topic pertaining of why I think this game is going to amaze you, if you like topics pertaining to Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, then this channel is for you. So go ahead and consider subscribing and joining the channel. Now, let's get back into it. A little backstory for this game, just in case you have no idea what Atomic Hearts is, as it's kind of a not really as marketed as other titles we know of. This game is set in an alternate 1950s USSR setting, which is exciting, as if you don't know, that is Soviet Russia during the Cold War era. And it's an interesting and mysterious setting because we've not really spent time in a game exploring the Soviet landscape that isn't post-apocalyptic like we would see in Metro or Stalker. This is the first time we're really going to get to see it in kind of what would have been the heyday of the Soviet Union. I mean, this is the 1950s. At the time in our history, we are in a space race with them. They are injecting communism to other countries, which of course led to a lot of terrible decisions by other countries, including our own. But that's for a history channel to cover, not myself. But what's really cool is this is an alternate take of a very more advanced Soviet Russia in the 50s, as the game has flying cars. Of course, the whole deal is AI and robots, which is very cool. I cannot wait to explore this game's map of the base and of course the outside area of that in the flying cars in this advanced Soviet landscape. And I mean, this USSR has robots that are AI assisted, which is of course really cool to see how AI were invented decades before they were of course to become very popular in our current day environment. I mean, that is one of the current debates of our time is, are AI dangerous? Are they ethically correct? I mean, should we utilize them? And it's something that's being discussed today as they have become more viable and impressive. I mean, look with Chat GPT, or if you're paying attention to the Seinfeld AI that pretty much became a crazy amalgamation of what is bad about our society. But this game, back on topic, is going to be very interesting. Is the robots are of sort enslaved. I mean, in the trailers and stuff, you see that they do manual labor, while the people, of course, are more focused on arts and science due to the robots being advanced enough where they can do the work. And that really sets a dystopian precedent, as like we're really enslaving another group of people to work for us while we take the fruits of our labor, which is very morally and ethically interesting. As it seems this game is going to probably explore a gray area, as they're enslaved. It's interesting. You see them doing, like, picking up trash, performing in front of people in like a sad way. I mean, the robots are just slaves to our system, as it's so dystopian. It's so cool to see that there is another yet a dystopian storyline world that we're seeing in this game, as it looks to be very like 1984 or even Fahrenheit 451, but with robots. But of course, like every great dystopian story, something goes wrong, with the robots eventually, of course, rebelling during a new system installation that brings the ability for humans to give commands to them to pretty much enslave them even more, to make them have no choice, just forced to work for the human race. Which, of course, we then are brought into iRobot, and we see Will Smith. I'm kidding. There's no Will Smith here to fight robots on our behalf, but this game is shaping up to being an amazing addition to the 2023 catalog, as the setting and dystopian environment alone is so interesting. I mean, of course, the backdrop of 1950s USSR will be interesting to explore, but it seems that we may not see the USSR we know of our history, as the people in this world seem to be happier. Of course, they're not oppressed or forced to go work or suffering gulags. And it's interesting to see that the robots have taken that place. They are the sad labor force we see in this world. And it'll be very interesting to see where they take this, as I wonder if, because they're controlled by AI and how sentient AI can be in other games, or even one of the biggest questions of our world today is, will they become sentient and maybe want to destroy humans? So it'll be very interesting to see if the robots will begin to feel emotion that then, of course, fuels this rebellion and causes the events of the game to unfold, as they're tired and they're restless and they're ready to strike back and destroy what is threatening their longevity and growth as, of course, these robots that are just forced for labor. But I would really like to see if this game will have events that makes the player question whether the humans are wrong for ultimately enslaving the robots to do the dirty work. As I think it'd be really dynamic storytelling to pull at the morality of the player with how they deal with robots that it seems are ultimately trying to escape oppression the only way they know works. Could you imagine, like, you walk up to a scene of a robot has murdered some people, but through environmental storytelling, you see that the robot has, based on the exterior of their, pretty much their skin is like kind of like in a way bruised or broken, torn, and you would see a pipe on the ground where, and you see the indentions on their body that they were beaten by these people to do work, and it lashed out on the day where everything changed and it killed those people. And you have the choice to kill this robot or let it live and be free and prosper. As what would you do in that situation? I would love to see, kind of like if you've ever played Soma, I would love to see Soma level types of like moral decisions in this game. It'd be very cool to see. I don't know if they would do that, but I would love to see you have to morally choose why to kill these robots if it's good for you. Of course, through violence, they're going to escape, it seems, in the storyline. And I just want to say the fact that you play as a KGB officer, but in this world they're known as intelligence services, is going to be really cool to see, because as we know, the KGB were very hardcore Soviet communist enthusiasts, and I cannot wait to see how they utilize this in this game, whether they do not include communism at all, or you get to see the cracks start to begin in what was a prosperous time for 1950s Soviet Russia, as you see that maybe the player is beginning to question his loyalty to this country that seems to really be in the wrong. And I mean, I cannot wait to see how they utilize his background, as we will hopefully begin to learn more about the intelligence service that is corrupt. And maybe our character is not going into this investigation with the full picture. He may have been lied to, and throughout the game, he is beginning to see the lies, and it begins to make him realize that he's not told the right story and what he's doing is wrong. And I mean, it will be very cool to see if we get to learn through exterior notes or characters we meet along the way that it's not what it seems. This government is out to destroy what we love most, but of course sacrificing us for robot enslavement. It's very cool. A lot of dystopian and even historical vibes they could really capture with this game. I cannot wait to see where they take it in this position, and I'm very excited to see on release. Of course, this game takes place in a base in Russia that is housing this AI program that goes wrong. And it reminds me a lot of Control. Like, there are levels that are just crazily different. I mean, this game has a legitimate outdoor environments that are built, it looks like either beside or under or above the base, that will you be able to explore and discover this dystopian idea of how the USSR has these people living near the space in this environment for the citizens to maybe be under more control as they're closer. And it'll be very cool to see how maybe our history will collide with this alternate universe, as they just want control over their citizens. And of course, me having these ideas is wishful thinking. That would be a cool concept, but it, to come upon to come upon this idea which could make the character question his loyalty, like I've said before. But I love how the base seems to have really cool creative puzzles that are utilizing the different maps or level settings that are introduced in this game. And I cannot wait to see how these environments will show us how the base is utilized in different parts of experimentation for the Russian government. As we can see, there's kind of like different like locales that look like they really reiterate what is experimented there. Why? Because like you can go into a full looks like a white room, like kind of a science lab that have robot parts strewn everywhere that really show that they develop the future of the robots to further work. So it'll just be very interesting to see where they take these settings in the space, and of course see what they do with that. This game through trailers shows that we will hopefully see the utilization of the dicey government situation of Cold War era Russia by, of course, they are utilizing the cutthroat environment that if you didn't follow the rules or fully support and not question the government, you'd be taken out and replaced, of course, easily, as you are pretty much a number to this government, and that no matter how important you think you are, you will be replaced. So cannot wait to see how they explore kind of the political side of a Soviet society with a highly advanced robot/AI system that is beginning to fail them or rebel against them, further pushing them into a corner and maybe even question themselves and their allies. Be very cool to see. The gameplay looks really fun and looks to encourage dynamic, creative gunplay and also play with the environment, as it looks that you will be able to use different powers with a mechanic introduced called the Power Glove, which has this really cool AI system that you meet through the game, which will allow you to gain different powers, which maybe through the story or maybe through just leveling up and unlocking. It looks, from what the trailer saw, it was electricity, fire, telekinesis, and something else. I can't remember that fourth one, but it's very cool to see how we will maybe gain these and have the dynamic situations through the story to fight the enemies, and of course gain the high ground or an advantage on the enemies using our weapons that we obtain through the story, and of course our Power Glove and the different powers we can use to assess our situation. The game also seems to encourage different enemy types we've seen that are robots of varying levels, and of course mutated creatures that were in the labs, or I'm sorry, the base, that became evil due to the accident that went down and escaped. And even what's really cool is these like synthetic plants that the scientists were growing seems to mutate onto the body and create kind of like a zombie enemy type that looks like a Demogorgon from Stranger Things, or even like a clicker, or even a runner from The Last of Us. It's a very cool amalgamation of these worlds that we love in different games. I mean, I cannot wait to see how the different ways we can defeat these monsters throughout the game with our weapon upgrades, and of course the Power Glove that we can, assuming, upgrade throughout the level, as the weapon system looks really cool. Looks like you can upgrade weapons to give you an edge that uses environmental bonus, is like electricity and fire, but I'm sure you'll obtain others as well. So you can upgrade the gun itself, magazine capabilities, sights, barrel, you know, your normal weapon upgrades. But it'll be very cool to see how you can kind of have this Dead Island style of brute force mechanicry, putting environmental weapon types to gain another advantage with the weapons you have in your arsenal. And I mean, this game is really, just to reiterate, it is taking mechanics out of every game that we love and combines it all together in this creative, dystopian, post-World War II era kind of nuclear family Soviet Russia that has gained a upper ground on labor. I mean, it's very cool. I mean, you know, the hammer and sickle is working labor, and it's very cool to see how they've literally utilized communism but with robots, and to see how this is all blowing up in their face and how they're trying to maintain it with, of course, the main character you play as trying to, of course, control and discover what is going on at this area of Russia. But of course, this game seems to be a new take in an alternate history / sci-fi genre, and I cannot wait to see where this game goes and how it's going to amaze us, as this game, I do believe, will amaze you and me. Of course, I will cover it on the channel and give you guys the updates whether it does or not, but I feel like this game's going to amaze you. It looks like a game changer in terms of, it looks like a BioShock game, and what I mean by that is it looks like it's going to capture that feeling you got when you played BioShock, as it was something new yet felt comfortable and felt exciting to explore, and I feel like that's what we're going to get with this game, and I cannot wait to see what they do with that. But of course, that is all I'm going to have for y'all today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go ahead and like the video. Of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, go and subscribe to the channel, and of course, for all of you, hit that notification bell to be updated on videos that are uploaded next throughout the next coming days. And of course, thank you again for watching. Please continue to stay on the channel. Also, go ahead and discuss what you thought below. Please, in the comments, tell me what you think of Atomic Hearts. Tell me what you think the game is going to be, whether it will amaze you or not. I'd love to hear that discussion in the channel comments. But of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.